On the 25th of June, 1876, as Sitting Bull, clad in a buckskin tunic and clutching a sacred staff, rallied 8,000 Lakota and Cheyenne warriors in a sprawling camp along the Little Bighorn, George Custer, resplendent in his blue officer's coat with golden curls streaming, led 700 men into a fateful charge. Historian Robert Utley calls it a collision of unyielding wills, where Custer's cry of, "We've got them," met a native force fighting for survival. In just 1 hour, 268 of his men, including Custer, lay dead. What fatal missteps turned this clash into America's most infamous military disaster? George Custer, born in 1839 to a modest Ohio farmer, entered West Point in 1857 with dreams of eternal fame. His time at the academy was marked by reckless defiance, accumulating 726 disciplinary infractions, more than any cadet before him, according to West Point records. Yet, instructors saw a spark of brilliance in his audacity. His bold tactics and charisma hinted at a soldier destined for greatness, despite his penchant for rule-breaking. Historian James Donovan notes, Custer's ambition was a double-edged sword, driving him to glory but often blinding him to caution. This restless energy set the stage for his meteoric rise and eventual tragedy. In the Civil War, Custer's courage shone brightly. At the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863, he led a daring cavalry charge against Confederate forces, turning the tide at a critical moment. At just 23, he earned a brevet promotion to brigadier general, becoming one of the youngest generals in U.S. history, as documented in military archives. Known as the Boy General, his flamboyant style, with long golden hair and a tailored uniform, made him a press darling. Soldiers admired his willingness to lead from the front, never asking them to face dangers he would not share. His valor earned him the table on which Robert E. Lee signed the Confederacy's surrender in 1865, gifted to his wife with a note praising Custer's pivotal role. After the Civil War, Custer's assignment to the 7th Cavalry in 1866 felt like exile. Tasked with subduing Plains Indians, he viewed the posting as beneath his Civil War triumphs. The vast prairies offered little chance for the glory he craved, and his frustration grew. According to historian T.J. Stiles, Custer saw the West as a stage too small for his ambitions, a place where heroism went unnoticed. His disdain for the assignment fueled his reckless pursuit of fame, often at the cost of strategic restraint. This restless discontent would shadow his campaigns against the resilient native tribes. In November 1868, Custer led a dawn assault on a Cheyenne camp along the Washita River in Oklahoma. His 7th Cavalry killed 103 Cheyenne, but the majority were women and children, as reported by contemporary accounts. Tragically, the camp belonged to Black Kettle, a chief seeking peace with the U.S., making the attack a diplomatic disaster. Custer's failure to wait for his subordinate, Major Joel Elliott, and 20 men led to their deaths when Cheyenne warriors counterattacked. Captain Frederick Benteen, a subordinate, later accused Custer of abandoning Elliott, sowing discord within the 7th Cavalry. This bloody misstep, as historian Evan Connell writes, revealed Custer's hunger for victory over judgment. The 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty promised the Sioux control of the Black Hills, a sacred region, on the condition they ceased attacks on settlers. However, the U.S. government had no intention of honoring this agreement. The Black Hills resources were too valuable, and officials anticipated settlers would provoke violations, justifying land seizures. By 1875, this duplicity was evident as the U.S. encouraged settlement to undermine the treaty. Historian D. Brown argues, the treaty was a calculated deception designed to fail. This betrayal fueled native resistance, setting the stage for a fierce showdown. Sitting Bull, a Hunkpapa Lakota leader born around 1831, rejected the Fort Laramie Treaty, foreseeing relentless American expansion. Unlike Custer's brashness, Sitting Bull's calm resolve and strategic foresight defined his leadership. He believed resistance was the only path to preserve Lakota culture. As historian Robert Utley observes, Sitting Bull's refusal was not mere defiance but a profound commitment to his people's survival. His authority, rooted in both wisdom and spiritual conviction, rallied thousands to his cause, creating a formidable coalition by 1876. Sitting Bull's spiritual leadership set him apart. He claimed visions from the Great Spirit, guiding his strategy against the U.S. During an 1876 Sundance ceremony, he foresaw soldiers falling into his camp, a prophecy that bolstered his followers' resolve as recorded by Lakota oral histories. His measured approach contrasted sharply with Custer's impulsiveness, yet his resolve was unyielding. Historian Nathaniel Philbrick notes, Sitting Bull's visions were not superstition but a unifying force, giving his people hope against overwhelming odds. This spiritual strength cemented his role as a beacon for native resistance. By 1876, Sitting Bull, alongside his trusted ally Gall, had built a coalition of Lakota, Cheyenne, and smaller tribes. Their raids targeted U.S. settlements and rival tribes like the Crow, who allied with the Americans. Gall, a fierce warrior and tactician, complemented Sitting Bull's leadership. Their forces grew to 8,000, including 2,000 warriors, according to estimates from military reports. This coalition, as historian Joseph Marshall III writes, was a testament to native unity in the face of existential threat. Their raids disrupted U.S. expansion, forcing a military response. In 1874, Custer led an expedition into the Black Hills, officially to scout for a fort, but primarily to confirm gold deposits. His reports sparked a gold rush, drawing 15,000 settlers by 1875, as documented in government records. President Ulysses S. Grant tacitly supported this influx, knowing it violated the Fort Laramie Treaty. The expedition, accompanied by photographers and reporters, glorified Custer's image as a frontier hero. Historian Heather Cox Richardson argues, the expedition was less about exploration than propaganda, designed to provoke conflict. This calculated move inflamed tensions with the Sioux. In November 1875, President Grant issued an ultimatum. All Lakota and Cheyenne must relocate to reservations by the 31st of January, 1876, or be deemed hostile. Issued in the depths of winter, this demand was impossible, as travel would risk starvation and exposure, according to contemporary accounts. The ultimatum was a deliberate provocation designed to justify military action. As historian Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz states, Grant's order was a cynical ploy to seize the Black Hills. This injustice galvanized Sitting Bull's coalition, preparing them for a desperate stand. In May 1876, General Alfred Terry launched a campaign to crush Sitting Bull's resistance. His strategy involved three converging armies: Terry's from Dakota, General John Gibbons from Montana, and General George Crook's from Wyoming, totaling over 2,500 troops per military records. Their goal was to trap Sitting Bull's coalition along the Yellowstone River. Custer, leading the 7th Cavalry, treated the campaign lightly, often diverting to hunt, frustrating Terry. Historian Stephen Ambrose notes, Custer's cavalier attitude blinded him to the campaign stakes. This overconfidence foreshadowed disaster. On the 17th of June, 1876, Crazy Horse, a dynamic Oglala Lakota warrior, led 1,500 warriors against General Crook's 1,300-man force at the Rosebud River. Using fluid tactics, Crazy Horse outmaneuvered Crook, killing 30 soldiers and forcing a retreat, as reported by Crook's dispatches. Crucially, Crook failed to notify Terry or Custer of this defeat, leaving them unaware of the native coalition's strength. Historian Thomas Powers writes, Crazy Horse's victory exposed the U.S. Army's underestimation of native resolve. This oversight left Custer dangerously uninformed. On the 25th of June, 1876, Custer's scouts, including Bloody Knife, a half-Sioux, half-Arikara scout, spotted Sitting Bull's camp along the Little Bighorn. Estimates suggested 8,000 people, with 2,000 warriors, far exceeding Custer's expectations. Bloody Knife urged waiting for Terry's reinforcements, but Custer, driven by ambition, divided his 700 men into three groups, 5 companies under his command, 3 under Major Marcus Reno, and 3 under Captain Frederick Benteen. Historian James Donovan states, Custer's decision to attack was a gamble rooted in hubris. This choice sealed his fate. Major Reno's southern attack on the Little Bighorn camp met fierce resistance from Gall and Crazy Horse's warriors. Reno, reportedly drunk, ordered his 150 men to dismount and form a firing line, but their bullets struck warriors and civilians alike. When Bloody Knife was shot in the head, his blood splattering Reno, the major's resolve collapsed. His chaotic retreat across the river cost 40 men, nearly half his force, according to survivor accounts. Historian Evan Connell writes, Reno's failure was a cascade of panic and poor judgment. This collapse left Custer's flank exposed. Custer's northern charge targeted the camp's heart, likely aiming to capture hostages to force surrender, a tactic he had used before. Facing thousands of warriors, his 210 men were overwhelmed. Crazy Horse encircled them, cutting off retreat. On Last Stand Hill, Custer, his brothers Tom and Boston, and Lieutenant James Calhoun fell under a hail of arrows and bullets. Sioux accounts, cited by historian Joseph Marshall III, describe Custer standing like a sheaf of corn with the ears fallen around him. Benteen, receiving Custer's plea for aid, remained with Reno, ensuring Custer's annihilation. Scattered across the blood-soaked hills of the Little Bighorn, the bodies of George Custer and 268 men bore witness to the unrelenting spirit of the Lakota and Cheyenne. Driven by Sitting Bull's prophetic vision and Crazy Horse's fearless tactics, their victory on the 25th of June, 1876, stunned a nation that believed itself invincible. Historian D. Brown calls it a triumph of native resilience against overwhelming odds. This battle was not merely a clash of arms but a desperate stand to preserve a way of life against relentless encroachment. The courage of the native warriors, fighting for their sacred lands, demands our respect and empathy. As we reflect on this pivotal moment, one question persists. Could a path of mutual respect, rather than conquest, have spared the Black Hills and rewritten the tragic history of native dispossession?